In this note, we did an investigation in class where we looked at different scenarios and tried to match them to given graphs. So what I'm going to do here is go over what the stories are and how they are represented, and then for the first one I will draw the graph that would be represented by the two leftover stories. So the two leftover stories were story C, which was racing a car down a hill, and story J, which was pulling out of a driveway and speeding off. So to represent these scenarios, we need to draw one graph. And the idea is if you're racing a car down a hill, you start off slow and then your speed increases as you get further and further down the hill. Same with pulling out of a driveway and speeding off. You start slow and then you start to accelerate, so your speed is increasing as time goes on. The key thing here is that your speed is not constant, so we shouldn't have straight lines. So what we can draw would be something like this. So here we start off slow because our line isn't as steep, but then it slowly starts to get steeper and steeper and steeper and steeper, which means our speed is increasing. Again, the key thing here is that there is no straight line, so this means that the speed is not constant, it's always changing. If we look at our first example in the top left, we have two stories: walking from the kitchen to the couch and riding to school and then waiting. So here, what we're talking about is we have a straight line going up, so this means that we are moving away from our reference point, such as walking away from the kitchen or leaving the house and going to school. And then we have a flat line, which means we're not moving, whether it's like the first story, sitting on a couch, or waiting at one location. The flat line means we're not moving. In the upper right, our two stories are walking and then running, and then walking and then riding a bike. So the key thing here is that we're still walking in the same direction because the lines are both going up, we're walking away, and the first line is, we would say, shallow or less steep, so that means we're walking slow, and then it changes to where we're walking, or in one case running, and riding, where our speed increases or changes to a faster speed from the first section. In the lower left, our two stories are walking to the bathroom, then back to a locker, and then running to class. And the second one is walking in the cat, then walking home, and then going to school. So the key thing here is we have a line that's walking away from a reference point, such as the locker or home, then we're walking back to the locker or home, and then we're leaving at a faster pace, whether it's running to class or going to school. So again, this one looks at the line going up and then down, so walking away and then towards, and then leaving or walking away again. And finally, in our lower left or lower right, our two stories are one was studying in a library and not moving, and the second one was having a flat tire, so we weren't moving. And this is just represented by a straight flat line, which means we have not moved from our reference point. So in the first story, we did not move from the library, and the second one, we did not move from the driveway. So that means there is no distance traveled for this time period. So again, from this activity, the key thing was just recognizing different scenarios and different stories and matching them with the associated graphs. So it's tying in a little bit of, again, understanding the distance time graphs and what the lines represent, which we learned in our last note.